Hello, loved ones. Thank you for joining me today. And if you're new to the channel, then welcome to the family. Today, we will review Love and Marriage Detroit Season 1, Episode 7. It was called Reconnecting and Disconnecting. This was another great episode. So please like, comment, and subscribe. And with that, let's get started. The episode resumes where we left off, where Kolby is going off on Kristina. She calls her manipulative and conniving, and Kristina calls Kolby fake. Now, I don't know which one of those are easier to get over, whether somebody called me manipulative and conniving or if somebody called me fake. Manipulative and conniving, I think that just hits really deep because I think that really goes against my character and who I am. So it'll be interesting to see after this is all said and done with and the dust has settled, if they're able to reconnect after making such powerful statements about each other's character. But Kolby says that Kristina had to be pillow talking for Brandon to come up with her being a copycat. And I agree. Since Kolby doesn't talk to Brandon, then Kristina had to tell him something about their interaction or what was going on for him to come and say that she is being a Kolby cat. Also, Kolby believes that Brandon may be retaliating against her since she outed the conversation about his artist. And honestly, I think that is a reasonable assumption. If I was Kolby, I would say the same thing. He's just trying to get me back. It's a get back for me outing his artist at the anniversary dinner. Now, I don't know if that was a get back or not. I do think it's very reasonable. We know that Brandon said that he kind of jumped in because him and Kristina have their own little differences, and Kristina thinks that he never takes up for her, so he needed to take up for her in the moment. And both could be true. It could be him taking up for Kristina in the moment and also a get back. Kristina then apologizes for Brandon. And one thing I think that Kristina did well is she didn't defend him or, pretend like it was okay, something that was okay for him to say. She basically said, I'm apologizing for Brandon. I don't think that he should have said that. And I think that is when it clicked for Kolby. Like, I think if Kristina had to try to defend what Brandon said, then maybe the conversation would have kept going. But I think because Kristina was like, yeah, he shouldn't have said that. I apologize on his behalf. Once Kristina just apologized for Brandon, we see Kolby kind of come down, then take responsibility for some of the things that had happened. She says she apologizes for overreacting. And then Kristina, in her cameo, she indicates that it's because Kolby is a little younger than her. And I don't know. I mean, we've seen people at all ages do this, so I'm not sure if it's because Kolby is younger. Kristina says that they needed the conversation, that it was going to come sooner or later, and they needed the conversation in order to set boundaries. Now, we didn't see any boundaries being set, and we really didn't see how they actually resolved the issue, or were they able to talk through whether they were going to do the deal with Harper Ray, or what Kristina's point was in terms of what she was confused about. After the argument, they really we just saw them, we came to a conclusion. Then Kristina invited Kolby to her Shut Up and Pray brunch, and then they hugged and they parted ways. So I feel like we really didn't see the whole resolution, or what the critical part of the resolution of what they came to. I would have loved to seen what the boundaries were that they set for them moving forward. In the next scene, we see Anthony, and he is at a photo shoot, and he is doing a photo shoot for a lookbook because he has a partnership with a designer. And LaToya comes to visit him on set. Now, Anthony says the Bible study was great, but too long. He liked how they interacted with one another, and they got straight to the word. Was this another Bible study? Because we saw at the beginning of Bible study that you guys got into it, and we never really heard the word. So I'm not sure if this was the same Bible study. It sounds like it, unless the same argument happened twice, but I don't think he really described what happened at the Bible study as it was portrayed on television. Because, I mean, did they get straight to the word and then Russell bring up the whole differences? But I thought that Russell brought it up at the beginning in order to clear the air before Bible study. So I don't know. See, I am really interested in this type of detail because I feel like how somebody explains something when I'm there and I'm able to witness it, not that I was right there at their Bible study, but how it was portrayed on TV, and they then go back and tell the story differently, then I know then at times when I'm not there that they're going to tell it differently, that they're not going to be consistent in how the story happened. So I don't know. That gave me a little pause for Anthony. Anthony tells LaToya that him and Brandon had a back and forth, and he says that Brandon said that he does not rock with Brittany. He thinks she is arrogant and he does not fool with her. Now, is that an addition to the story? Because I feel like when you're telling something that is true, every time you tell it, it's going to be the same thing over and over. And so I feel like this is elements of the story that we have not heard before, saying that she was arrogant and that he did not fool with her. Because at first he said that Brandon said that he didn't rock with Brittany like that. And then that was all of the conversation that he said prior to this. So again, I don't know that little detail where it sounds like now he is adding a little more to the story. Now we know this is an edited show, so it could be editing where they're not allowing us to hear everything that he's saying, and maybe he said these things and they just edited it out so that we can come to the conclusion as to where we're confused about whether if Anthony is telling the truth or not. He says that what made him mad is that Brandon lied to his face, and Brandon doesn't know Detroit. He was raised in an all-boys school, and Kristina, she doesn't really know Detroit either because she was in Buffalo, and I don't understand what any of that had to do with the conversation or the issue at hand, but he was just trying to make a point that they don't know the streets of Brooklyn like the streets of Detroit like he do, because they're not really from there, or they from the wrong side of the tracks. And if you're from a different side of the track and you don't rock with somebody, then you don't cross over. But I don't know, it just sounds like a really messy third grade conversation to me. He does say that him and Brandon patch things up. And isn't that so indicative of men? They can patch something up so much quicker than females. And, they went through their arguments, went through their back and forth. Brandon yielded the conversation. And they did patch things up. Now, how long that patch is going to last is the question. LaToya says she does not like drama, and her and Kristina are building a friendship and a sisterhood. They need a conversation because it's a lack of communication and a lack of understanding. Well, where's the lack of communication, and who doesn't understand what's going on? Either it was said or it was not said. Now, I think that this conversation is going to play in a lot, because I feel like later on in the episode, when Kolby is telling LaToya what happened, then LaToya is acting like she never heard this before. And we know that at the Bible study, they covered this issue because Russell is the one who was like, hey, Kristina called me and said that Anthony said that I did not rock with, that I said I did not rock with Brittany, me and Kolby. So I really feel like it was such a big part of the conversation that I can't imagine Anthony, if he's telling the story correctly, that he did not share that part of the story with LaToya. So I don't know if because later on we're going to see she gets all riled up. But, there's no reason for you to get riled up, because I feel like you should have already known this because your husband shared it with you. And then she talks about how, Kristina could have called and all of that, but you knew the story before you got to Kolby. So if you wanted to clear it up or you wanted to have a conversation and you don't like drama, then she could have did it too. But that's my thoughts about it. Let me know what you think in the comments. She wants the group to go to Traverse City together to reconnect with their mates and their friends. So again, I think that they're setting us up for the season finale, which I think will be a couples retreat. And, they'll go on a couples retreat and try to hash out some of these differences that they are creating during the season. We then see Kristina and Brandon, they go on a date night. And Kristina says that they need to prioritize one another and that she has never felt safe in their marriage, not even when it comes to his parents. And Brandon says that he doesn't even know how to provide safety, and he never thought that he would have to provide safety from his parents. Now, this is so interesting for me because I don't really think I've ever thought of whether I was safe or not safe within my marriage until last season of Married at First Sight with Eris and Jasmine. Before that, I never really thought of, does my husband provide safety for me, in a marriage? But Kristina goes on to say, hey, in your household growing up, you were not held accountable. You guys didn't resolve conflicts. And it sounds like Brandon agrees with that assessment and that he may have a hard time in his marriage because Kristina does hold him accountable. But in this conversation, I felt like Kristina kept bringing up his mama too much. Your mama didn't do this. Your mama didn't teach you this. And don't get me wrong, I do think that in a marriage, you really do have to look at how that person grew up, the dynamics in their household. I mean, a lot of people focus on men are from Mars and women are from Venus, but I think the way we grew up and what was going on in our household is just as important because that gives us a little perspective on the other person. However, I feel like she just focused too much on his mama. And if I was Mama Smith, I would not be happy with little Kristina. Look, that man is grown, and I ran my household the way that I thought was best, and evidently it worked for me. And I don't know if she's a single parent or married, but it worked for me in terms of running my household. And if you didn't like the way I raised him, you should have discovered that before you married him. And so leave me and my household out of it. Once we become grown, if there's some things that we need to change, it's up to us. He's at least 40, because I'm going to assume that him and Kristina are around the same age. So you are going to blame my mama for things that happened 20 years ago? I mean, we need to always grow and evolve and evaluate our households and what we want to do differently and how we want to move differently. So I really did not care that she was saying like, hey, your upbringing, but I don't know. I feel like she mentioned his mom too many times for me. And yeah, I think that Brandon has to take responsibility because he's had 20 years. Basically, if he's 40, he probably lived with his mom 20 years, and now he has lived by himself for 20 years. So, honestly, that's a 50-50. You've had enough time to correct what your mom did and move into a different direction once you realize that that's not working for you or your marriage. But I feel like once we pick a mate that, hey, you got to accept them how they are at that time, although we should always be growing and evolving. And that goes into their next conversation, because Kristina is like, I'm different than the person that you married, and you don't even know who I am anymore. And then when Brandon tried to turn the conversation around, she was like, no, I know you because I pray. So are you saying that Brandon does not pray? And I don't think that prayer allows you to know God is not going to just be like, this is who he is. And this is, you pray for him, you pray how your reaction is with him, but I don't think that you can know someone just because you pray for them. Hopefully we do pray for our mates in our marriage, in their leadership, but I feel like that was kind of like a weak argument for Kristina in terms of Brandon. And then Brandon does admit that, hey, he doesn't like to take direction from anyone, and that's why he became an entrepreneur. Because when he got fired from his first job, he did not want to be bossed by anyone. And then Kristina says, but you are, because I'm the boss. Really, Kristina? Because I feel like, the man is supposed to be the head of the house. And if you cannot follow the lead of a man, don't marry him. Don't marry him. And, if you don't trust the leadership of a man, I don't think you should marry somebody that you don't trust their leadership. Now, mind you, there could be broken trust. They've been married a long time, and, that happens. But I think that it just causes a big imbalance when we try to be the boss of another person. And even though the man is the head of the house, I don't feel like my husband is the boss of me. I feel like we're a partnership, we're a team. We should be working together. We should be working together towards the same goal, and nobody has to be the boss of another adult. And I think that goes back to, episode 1, when they were talking and they were asking him, do you need to ask permission to do this or that? I don't think we need to ask our spouses for permission, but because we are a unit, we should discuss the things that we're doing with them. And I don't think that she can not make him go to the club, but she can point out what the advantages or disadvantages of him making that decision would be. Also, in this interaction at date night, Brandon says that Kristina is a tyrant, and she is a tyrant within her own family. That wasn't positive to me. I mean, does she really want to be a tyrant? That's how he sees you, evidently, as a tyrant. So that might be something that she wants to work on. And also, we do see that Brandon has agreed to go to counseling and to work on the issues from his childhood trauma, and he wants to do it so that he can be a better person for Kristina. But I think you got to do it for yourself, because there's no guarantees for that other person. So if you want to change to become a better you, then you should do it. But you shouldn't just do it for another person. Although it will benefit the marriage, you should do it because that's something that you think would be beneficial to you and the marriage. And then Brandon wanted to proclaim his love to Kristina and made the whole big, huge announcement to the restaurant. People in the restaurant, I don't know. I think he was just trying to move on from that conversation, make sure it was a great, peaceful kind of reconnecting dinner for the both of them. So I think this is the reconnecting that the title insinuated for this episode. In the next scene, we see Anthony meet with LYRIQ. And Anthony believes that LYRIQ and Brandon have a problem with each other because they both work in the same industry. They have similar business structures. They are in close proximity to one another, and they haven't worked together. Really? I mean, how many people, just because they're in similar industries doesn't mean they have to work together. And he does admit that neither one of them has said anything about the other one, but he thinks they have a beef with each other because they are in similar industries, their locations are in the similar vicinity, and they haven't done any work together because he thinks everybody needs money and cars, and it's enough to go around for everybody. I don't know. I really think that Anthony is very materialistic and, very materialistic, because some of the things that he says deals with money, like, you ain't made $1,000 like I made $1,000. Like, he's always talking about materialistic things. But LYRIQ says he doesn't really have a problem with Brandon. He does mention that he worked with Kristina in 2002, which was way before she got married, and maybe Brandon doesn't really care for him because he thinks that something went on between LYRIQ and Kristina. But he says nothing went on. It was strictly business for us. And he also says that Brandon is missing out because Kristina is the real deal. And he is going through all of these artists, but he should be focusing on Kristina because Kristina has talent and can sing. He then plays a song of Kristina singing, and she sounded absolutely beautiful. Now, the song she was singing, I don't remember the lyrics, but I don't think that she's in that place anymore. I don't know, we all grow and evolve, and I would love to see her come out with an album. But I think that where she is now, it would be more of a spiritual or Christian type inspirational album, gospel music, which I think would be great, because we see a lot of people on these shows become artists. Like we've seen Candace become an artist, we've seen Melody become an artist. I feel like those two are two that really have honed their craft, and they got started after the show began. And I feel like if Christina went into the gospel arena, then that would be something totally different. That would be something new, fresh, and different. And it wouldn't be like a recycle of what we saw before. So I hope that she does that. I would definitely support her. I don't listen to secular music. That's just not my style. But I would definitely support Christina if she had a great gospel album that came out. So I hope that we see that. But Anthony is actually there for LYRIQ because he wants him to be a part of the showcase. And, he is just so shady, even the way he says it. Yeah, your friend Brandon is going to be involved. I feel like he wants to kind of get the mess kind of stirred up. I feel like he's just trying to be a little producer. Like in the scene, everything he does, he wants it to be that big moment. And, I can understand that. I feel like he's doing it because this is his last shot. He already said he had an interview with Carlos King, and we know that his deal in Atlanta didn't go all that well, that he had to come home in order to save his marriage and family, which I commend him for. But that he told LaToya, look, we're going to do this, because he's just trying to find his place as to where he fits in. And I think he really wants the show to be a hit, and he wants it to be successful, and he understands that drama sells. So I think that he is trying to kind of create and make sure that the drama continues, but I feel like he's doing a little bit too much, and that he needs to just pull back and be himself, and that the drama is going to just unfold naturally. But LYRIQ does say that he will participate in the showcase, in the Anthony wants him to be a judge, and I think that he's great, would be a judge. He looks like he's produced talent. He's seen a lot of that before, so he would be a good person in that role. So Anthony recruits LYRIQ to be a judge, believing that it's going to cause some friction between him and Brandon, because he doesn't think that LYRIQ and Brandon like each other. In the next scene, LaToya goes to pick up Kolby so that they can drive together to the Shut Up and Pray brunch that Christina is hosting. And it is so cute because, LaToya pulls up in the yard. She gives Kolby a quick call. Hey, I'm out here waiting. Times have so changed. We are gone with the days of honking or getting out the car and walking to the door. Those times are dead and gone. Kolby gets in the car and lets her know that her and Christina, they met. And she also says that she wants an apology from Brandon, but she wants to wait, and it must be in the presence of Russell. Kolby then shares the conversation that Christina had with Russell, saying that Kolby and Russell said negative things about the publicist. I cannot believe this has gotten this far. It is just telephone gone wild over this little bitty issue, and I think it's going to carry the season the rest of the way through. And this is going to be the demise of the friendship over something this very, very small. But I feel like LaToya kind of made it look like this was her first time hearing about all of this, which I don't agree. I think that if her and Anthony talked, there's no reason that Anthony would not have shared this information with her at that time. Is LaToya calling Christina the enemy? She says that Christina is attacking Anthony's character, and that's what the enemy does. LaToya says that she does not want drama, and she believes that Christina is going to confront her about this issue at the Shut Up and Pray brunch. Isn't that ironic? That she thinks Christina is going to confront her, and that's going to bring drama to the event. But she ends up confronting Christina, which does the same thing that she said she didn't want. She didn't want drama there. And she thought Christina was going to confront her. But she says that she does not do drama in Jesus. But we will see in a minute that that is not true. She was trying to definitely mix drama with Jesus. We then get to the last scene for this episode, and it is the Shut Up and Pray brunch. So let's start with the arrivals. I noticed that Kristina and Kolby, when they greeted each other, they had a warm two-handed embrace. But when LaToya and Kristina greeted each other, they had like the one-handed side hug. Kolby spotted that Brandon was there and indicates that she's not going to talk to him because Russell is not there. And Brandon actually had the same sentiments. He's like, hey, I'm not going to say anything to Kolby because I want all my bones. And, you know, Russell is not there. And I think that that was good judgment on both parts. Kristina and Kolby both have friends named Chelsea, and they both arrive wearing similar designs. And LaToya points it out to us because I don't think I would have noticed until LaToya pointed it out. And she says, is it too early for a copycat joke? I think it might be a little too early, but I really think they were similar, not the same. So I didn't pay attention, but that's just me. We meet Lakita Samuels, who is Bravo's wife, and I think possibly an AKA because she had a lot of pink on, and maybe that's somebody's favorite color or whatever like that. But I really want to know if she is Kolby and LaToya's sorority sister. Because I really want to know that. So, but we actually meet Lakita, and I think she's more of a Kolby fan, just from the small interaction at the table. That's the sense that I got. Kolby's friend Chelsea is looking like she does not want to be there, and she looks like she has somewhat of an attitude. And it's because of the whole misunderstanding between Kolby and Kristina. But my thing is if you have an attitude, why did you come to the girls' brunch? Because if you don't know if she resolved the issue with Kolby and, you know, you have an attitude with her if they didn't, then why come to the brunch? You know Kristina's gonna be there. It's her brunch. So I really didn't understand that, or maybe she did. I don't know, because you see Kolby's there, so evidently Kolby doesn't have an issue with it. But you have an attitude. But everything simmered down. Kolby let her know that, hey, me and Kristina talked and we kind of made truce of the situation. So that was good, but I really didn't understand why Chelsea had an attitude in the first place. Then we got to the main event, and it was really nice that they showed Kristina praying. And we had a little snippet of the keynote speaker, which was Chryslin McNair. And it was really beautiful. She said that we should board up places that no longer needs to be occupied. And I guess from that, LaToya really felt convicted that she needed to board up the place in her heart that Kristina was occupying by coming after her man. Because at this time, she's like, I can't take it no more. I gotta talk to her right now. When before you said you did not want drama and you thought that Kristina was going to confront you at this event to cause drama. So does that mean you're the one causing drama if you're now confronting her at this event, which you did not want to happen because you didn't want drama? So drama-free LaToya pulls Kristina to the side and let her know that Kolby shared with her what Kristina said about Anthony. And Kristina says, what? And she says, you know what you said. Is this a replay? Because didn't we see the exact scene play out like this on Ready to Love with Blake last year when he approached one of the ladies and was like, hey, I heard you were talking about me in the ladies' lounge. And she said, well, what did you hear? And he said, you know what you said? Now, Kristina, she did her a favor and repeated what the conversation was, but I would have been like the whole Blake situation and I wouldn't have repeated what you say. So I know we talking about the same thing. What did she tell you that I said? I would have been like Ready to Love and made him repeat it. But Kristina goes on to say, yeah, you know, the publicist told me that Anthony told her that Kolby and Russell don't rock with him like that. This gets LaToya boiling. And she actually calls Kristina a lie. LaToya then calls Kristina a lie, and Kristina asks her, why are you being snarky? And she denies that she's being snarky. But if you call me a liar, you are definitely being snarky. And the thing is that she didn't even try to sugarcoat it. Like, did you get the right understanding? Or is that really what she said? Is those her exact words? But she basically straight out called Kristina a lie, which I think is bold to do right in somebody's face. Kristina is unclear why LaToya is bringing her in it if the publicist was only talking about Brandon. LaToya says that she knows that Anthony did not say anything about Kristina. But Kristina says that the publicist did indicate that it was Kristina, Brandon, Kolby, and Russell that Anthony said something about. And LaToya is defending her man. LaToya says, well, we can't trust Brandon because he already proved that he is untrustworthy. There you go. That's the second dig. So first you call Kristina a liar, and then you say to her that her husband is untrustworthy. So Kristina says, no, well, wait a minute. Anthony is untrustworthy too because of the whole snake situation. But LaToya is going to defend her husband tooth or nail. She is like, no, Anthony has not done anything to show that he is untrustworthy, but we know that Brandon has. I do like that when Kristina says something about you, she tries to prove it. So she is trying to prove to LaToya that Anthony is untrustworthy. And she says that Anthony is untrustworthy because he told Brittany that Kristina said something. And she says, there's no way I could have said that because I don't even talk to Anthony. So therefore, he is untrustworthy. Kolby, in her cameo, she says that she has never seen this side of Dr. LaToya. And I wanted to say, true, you have not seen this side of Dr. LaToya because you really don't know Dr. LaToya. Because I still believe that Kolby and Dr. LaToya are recent friends. I believe they did not meet or interact until they began taping this show. So you actually don't know her. At this time, you probably know her a couple of weeks, so you probably haven't seen all sides of her. So there's never been an opportunity for you to see her upset. LaToya says that she wants to tell Kristina about who she is. And Kristina says, oh, no, you don't. You won't tell me about who you are at my event that I am hosting when you have pulled me to the side. And LaToya says, hey, you did this at my event. And Kristina's like, I did what? I pulled you to the side at your... No. And, LaToya is making a parallel that, hey, you caused drama at my event. Now I'm going to cause drama at your event. But Kristina, I don't know if Kristina didn't know what she meant or was just trying to one-up her. Because she's like, I didn't do this at your event. I didn't even talk to you at your event. And I mean, it does hold water if the other person doesn't have a good comeback. Honestly, this whole thing, I really do believe it was a setup by production. I think that production told LaToya to go and confront Kristina at the event, pull her aside, have the conversation, because that's production's job. They'll spend a lot of money to come and film this event. They got 20 cameras there. And I think that because this may not truly be LaToya's, the way she interacts and the way she does things, confronting like this, especially kind of like off the cuff, that she was having a very hard time in this discussion because that's not her normal. So I kind of feel sorry for LaToya because I do think that it was a production. I think the production was like, no, you need to have a conversation now. Like, LaToya probably would have preferred to wait and call Kristina, but I think production was really insinuating that no, this is a show. This is what we do on reality TV. We confront people. Because I feel like in this back and forth that LaToya really didn't have like really good comebacks. And Kristina, she, it looks like she thinks fast. She thinks quick on her feet. She can have a comeback. No, I really didn't say that. No, he is he is not trustworthy and this is why he's not trustworthy. Because we've seen Kristina is a talker anyway. And hey, Brandon says she's a tyrant. So, they always got the next thing they need to say. They can pull it out of their hat very quickly. So I think that LaToya was unmatched in this whole discussion. But moving on, LaToya says that Kristina has a conniving way of saying things, and that's really rude. So she's called her a lie. She says that her husband is untrustworthy, and now she's calling her conniving. They rehash the skating ring incident, and Kristina thinks, hey, you called me fake at the skating ring incident. You had to be talking to me because you said that the situation was fake and you were looking right at me. And I actually don't know. I mean, my thing is that we know for sure that LaToya took Kolby's side, regardless if she's saying I'm trying to be neutral. It's pretty obvious at that moment when that happened that you took Kolby's side. And I did take it as her calling Kristina fake at that moment, like Kristina was being fake, because she said, I don't know if it was in this conversation, that you say you're a sister, but you didn't treat her like sisterly because you didn't call her back. And I think that that's a weak argument. I'm not sisterly and I'm fake because I did not call you back in the manner in which the time frame in which you thought I should. So I don't think that LaToya has a case, but I think she's sinking in this verbal back and forth battle that her and Kristina have going on. LaToya then, I think, is trying to defend the whole fake comment. And she says, hey, look, I have been to school for 8 years getting my doctor's degree. And in my studies, I learned that your actions and your words should match up and yours don't. And Kristina says, what actions? So first she tries to okay, because I feel like she is really a fact person. So you're going to have to come, what actions don't line up with me and my word? And LaToya says, you say you love her, but you didn't call her. And Kristina says, okay, so what does that have to do with you? Kind of why are you in the middle of this with me and Kolby? You're saying that my words does not match my actions. What have I done to you? Because what me and Kolby got going on, basically she was saying none of your business. And since LaToya couldn't answer, she said, is that what your degree got you? And I do think that was an insult. You went to school for this, you don't know what you're talking about. You spent 8 years on a degree. But I mean, LaToya called her a lie in front of her face, said her husband was untrustworthy, and also said that she was conniving, and at the skating rink called her fake. And now you're saying that my words and actions does not line up with one another, and you can't give me anything except the fact that I didn't call Kolby back in time. So I have to agree with Kristina on this one. Is that what your degree got you? That would be a good shirt though. I mean, I don't know who should do it, if Kristina should do it or if LaToya should make it. Maybe Kristina, but then we have seen on other shows like Love and Marriage Basketball, when I think it was Evelyn made a shirt about something that she said to Tammy, and then that caused confusion. So might want to think about it. What is more important, your relationship or making money from a t-shirt? But it would be, hey, is that what your degree got you? We'll see. LaToya says that Kristina is playing the victim, and we end with that argument. This is so interesting to me because I feel like the guys started all of this with Brandon calling Kolby Cat and Anthony gossiping on the phone, but somehow the guys were able to kind of lay it to bed and lay it to rest, and the females are still up in arms going back and forth on it. So I don't know. I don't like the name calling, because I think that if you do get back to a safe, good place with one another, that sometimes that's hard if you have a lot of name calling going on. Well, that was all for this episode. Please let me know what you thought about it in the comments. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And remember, live with intention. Be intentional.